Greetings. My name is Norman A. Carter Jr. And due to time constraints, I was not able to make a presentation at Mr. Thomas Earl Cork's funeral on December 10th, 2024. But for the benefit of his family, that includes his children, grandchildren, and great grandchildren, and the Hoffman clan, which he supported wholeheartedly, I would like to make that presentation now. I am the proud son-in-law of Mr. Thomas Earl Cork Sr., former Montford Point Marine, former Lance Corporal, and Korean War vet, and lifelong patriot. Patriot is not a four-letter word. On Thanksgiving Day, Thanksgiving Day of 2024, I listened as he spoke to a palliative care psychologist and spoke about his life after the military. It was then I learned that for years, Mr. Cork suffered from PTSD. Uh, in the old days, men were shamed by this. It was called shell shock. Today, we know that is not anything to be ashamed of. It's called post traumatic stress disorder. Intense combat can bring that on. Being under extremely stressful conditions can bring that on. Now, Mr. Cork wielded a machine gun in the Korean War. Any infantry veteran will tell you that the machine gunner is the first target an enemy seeks to kill in combat. Think about that. The first target an enemy seeks to kill in combat. He faced that reality 24 hours a day that he spent in the combat zone. Mr. Cork was among those who fought in the historic Battle of Chosin Reservoir. It was an historic battle that was so intense that the North Korean army imported troops from China to fight this battle with them. They overwhelmed our Marine forces. Over 10,500 Marines were either killed or wounded. Nearly 8,000 Marines suffered serious frostbite and, like former Lance Corporal Thomas Earl Cork Sr., lost fingers, toes, and limbs. Some even froze to death as they slept. They fought in temperatures hovering around negative 54 degrees Fahrenheit. Think about that. Negative 54 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 54 degrees below zero. Absolutely horrendous temperature, Arctic temperatures. Men such as Corporal Thomas E. Cork led to the establishment of a military code of conduct for all soldiers who followed them, like me. The first article of that original code stated, I am an American fighting man. I serve the forces which guard my country and our way of life. I am prepared to give my life in their defense. My father in law, a humble and courageous man, volunteered to put his life on the line for his country. After the war, he lived the rest of his life by putting his life on the line for our Lord. Both he and his wife dedicated themselves to educating young people and various types of community service. Because of this, Mr. Cork's name sits on a plaque outside of the Kentucky Governor's Office. It's entitled Kentucky Veterans Hall of Fame. This honor is not given sparingly. It's only given sparingly to the most qualified military veterans. His late wife, Gwendolyn's favorite biblical verse, applies here to her husband. Well done, my good and faithful servant. Well done. Semper Fi.